All right, so it's Heritage Day and the main celebrations are taking place in Limpopo, where the Deputy President is expected to address the gathering. Ayanda is there just giving us a preview as to what's expected to happen there. So let's cross over to her now and see who she's joined by. Ayanda, another good morning to you.
Good morning to you once again, Leanne. We continue to dig a little deeper into this concept of heritage and unpacking some critical themes. Now, for years, there seemed to have been some sort of inherent tension that existed between academics on the one hand and culture on the other. Very rarely would we find someone who was both an intellectual and also a traditional healer. Well, not until today, at least for myself, but I know Dr. Dima has been practicing for a while. Dr. Mashudu Dima does what is called the organic intellectual heritage and culture. He combines indigenous skills and knowledge with academics to promote indigenous knowledge systems and the like. Doc, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
I first want to begin by demystifying what it is that you do. I know you're called upon by provincial government, national government, and various leaders to provide a moral compass and authority. But I want to first discuss what is the difference between a traditional healer, a sangoma, a witch doctor, a herbalist, because they're often used as synonyms and they're quite different. Please explain your role.
I think that one you have asked a simple question. Yes, of course, we are not the same traditional healer. I'm a traditional healer, but I'm not a sangoma. A sangoma is a person who beat the drums and who make the people to get into the spirit itself traditionally. So when it comes to a herbalist, we call it a chigomamtanda in Chivenda. So in other words, it's a person who's selling some herbs. So I'm a traditional healer.
What is your role in modern day society?
My role is to remind the people where do we come from with heritage. The heritage is something like now when we say our forefathers has inherit something to us, and we take as heritage and sacred as the same thing. A heritage is a heritage by its own. It's a man-made things like buildings, like dancing, like attire, anything, whatever it's done by human. It's a heritage. But when we talk about sacred, a sacred is an area where it's a natural things. Like now when we talk about sacred forest, a sacred forest is where a certain clan is allowed to go there, not anybody to go there.
I'm glad you spoke about the sacred forest because I know you were involved in the World Forestry Congress. So your work is both intellectual, it's both advocacy, it's both traditional. Speak to us about what happened there.
Yes, to me, I want this young generation to understand the nature itself. And I want also the people or the traditional healer, when they go to harvest the indigenous trees for the herbs, they should not have to dig out the whole trees, because we must remember that we are not the people who are living in the world. We are many. There's some animals which also refer on the trees itself. There's us as a human, we need some herbs. The herbs doesn't come from heaven. The herbs are around in the world where we stay. Wherever we go, we need herbs, we need medicines. So medicine comes from the tree. That is why we are trying to convince people or to remind people that they must not just cut down the indigenous tree, they must not do the felt fire as we see now. South Africa is one of the places where they are playing with the fire in fact. They don't think about the tortoise who cannot even run. And when you put the fire on the snake also, when they wanted to run, they can't run because now the fire is closer than them. The tortoise are going to die, the insects, many things are going to die.
Unfortunately, Dr. Dima, we have run out of time. So much to talk about, so little time. I thank you so much for having joined us. And some of the issues that we would have loved to explore as we discuss the traditional and intellectual being intertwined is perhaps how we value Western forms of medicine as opposed to our local medicines when it's both the same herb. And we can bring in the khoisan there and some of the remarkable advancements that they have made in securing some of the herbs and the roots there that are being used all over the world. But unfortunately, Dr. Dima, we'll have to save a date for another time, you and I. We'll leave it there, at least for now. Quick ad break. Morning Live continues after this. Stay with us.